Good evening, ladies and gents. Tonight I'm gonna play a little bit of Tiny Toon Adventures on the Sega Mega Drive. This is actually one of my favorite games on the Mega Drive. A friend of mine had this in school, and we used to trade games back then because we didn't have enough money to actually go out and buy them, so I borrowed this a weekend and I had a blast with it. And I borrowed it several more times. Now, I'm gonna come out and say yes, just outright, I really don't like Tiny Toon Adventures, the cartoon. I don't know, I never saw the whole point to it. They're like younger versions of the Looney Tunes. I didn't think it was funny, and I thought it was just annoying for the most part. The Sega game, however, I love this game. It's actually one of the best platformers on the platform on the Mega Drive, and nobody really talks about it. It's like, maybe it's because one of those licensed games that nobody really cares too much about. This game is excellent. It's from my favorite third-party developer of old, Konami. Start a new game, and now right off the bat you'll notice that this game has a lot in common with the most popular game on the Mega Drive at the time, which was Sonic the Hedgehog. In that, when you start to walk, oh, I got hit there. When you start to walk, you don't start at a fast pace. You start kind of at a walk, and then you slowly gain momentum and gain speed, which was obviously inspired by Sonic the Hedgehog. It was popular at the time, but sometimes it does get to a point in which you move too fast and you can't really see what's coming. So sometimes it's annoying. But the same holds true for Sonic the Hedgehog. It's just level memorization and just learning every little nook and cranny in the game, pretty much. Yeah, I just like the way this game looks. I mean, back in the day, I said this before, the Sega Genesis was the Mega Drive, or whatever you call it in your region, was a pretty bare bones system. And it wasn't gonna win like any science fairs for technology. But just look at the background and look at especially the animation of the sprites. This is one thing that the Mega Drive has over the older consoles, and even over the newer consoles. Like, one thing the Mega Drive has over like the NES and the Atari and the PlayStation 3 and the Nintendo GameCube and pretty much every other system is the animation of the characters. Look at if you like looked at this back in the day, this was like playing a cartoon. The amount of expression that the characters can have, like the facial features, the animation, it's like playing a cartoon. And it kind of lost that charm in like the Nintendo 64, PlayStation. The Sega Saturn maintained it because the Sega Saturn was a 2D platform. Fantastic, the best 2D platform to date. But the other consoles kind of like went all to polygons, and polygons are not really all that expressive. Not as much as sprites. And here we have a sunset level, and look at that background, the mountains and the water. And the Mega Drive was, I think Sega got everything right with the Mega Drive because they made a system with hardware that programmers were well versed in. The Motorola 68000 series was pretty much a common component for like computers back then, so it was easy to program for, it was relatively affordable to program for, and everything about it was, they just got it right. Let me show you a little trick here in a moment. Now, when you're overwhelmed, you can call a buddy character, grab some icons, and I don't know what this vulture kid character's name is, I don't remember, but he'll drop an anvil and kill all the enemies, and it's pretty sweet. Kind of like a super attack. I mean, yeah, I was so sad and pissed off when Sega dropped out of the market because they couldn't afford to keep making systems. They made such great systems. I mean, they made my favorite system of all time, the Sega Saturn, and I think no console has yet surpassed the Sega Saturn in overall quality, feel, and game libraries. It just hasn't happened yet. And it's a real shame. It's a shame because I cannot tell you, I mean, there's no way I could make you imagine just how unbelievably popular Sega was. When I was growing up, I was 10 years old. Well, okay, little history. I'm from Okinawa, which is an island south of Japan, but I moved to Brazil and later other countries, but first I moved to Brazil when I was 10. And in Brazil, the Mega Drive, just to give you an idea how popular it was still being produced and commercialized up to 2008. I mean, that is a long time, considering it's a 16-bit system. In fact, right now you can go to Brazil, you can go to a game shop and buy Mega Drive games off the shelf for next to nothing, like $2 or $3. It's just amazing. Yeah, it was that popular. It's kind of like Nintendo was in the United States in the 80s. You see, back in the day, nobody said let's play a video game, or they just said let's play Nintendo. Everyone said let's play Nintendo. Nintendo was the synonym of video game. Well, in Brazil it was Sega. Let's go play this Sega. Want to play some Sega? Want to play this on the Sega? Yeah. Sega was the word, the video game. It was great. Oh no! Oh, didn't mean to do that. Oh. Yeah, this is a Konami game. Word of warning to anyone who's going to play classic Konami and Capcom games for that matter. Spikes are your worst enemy. In any good Konami or Capcom game, spikes will kill you immediately, and there's no way around it. You just have to be really careful around spikes. Oh, there we go. Another thing I like about this game is the variety of the environments. I mean, of course you always get the introductory level. Back in the day you'd get like the simpler level to get you used to the controls, maybe give you a few one-ups, and then immediately they throw you a ball out of left field. Like now you're jumping through trees and there are more enemy kinds, enemies that throw projectiles. And this is a kids game. This is, well, it's not like a kids game strictly, of course, but it is a game that is mostly marketed and advertised and aimed towards kids, like say 8-year-old to maybe 11, 12-year-old kids. I mean, the TV show was aimed at kids with some humor that was actually aimed at older people, like adults, pretty risque jokes, but overall this game was aimed at kids, and I think this game stands as testament to how the market has changed and how kids games were held to a different standard back in the late 80s, early 90s, and what kids games were considered like in the late 2000s, in recent years. Because this is, I think this was made in 1993, probably 1993, 1994, so it's about 20 years ago, roughly. But you see how challenging this game is? I mean, maybe in the first or second level it might not seem challenging, but this game gets pretty hard pretty quick. And you have to master jumping, wall jumping, dashing, like split-second timing. It's all about skill and repetition. You can't really just go around dilly-dallying or you'll get killed pretty fast. It only gives you 3 hit points, and if you die, you start from the beginning of the level, and that's all there is to it. There's no checkpoints, no respawning 2 feet away from where you just died. I mean, that's one thing that I really did not understand about Halo. Like, when I bought my Xbox, I bought the Xbox because I wanted to play Panzer Dragoon Orta, which was the best reason to buy an Xbox, as far as I know. But a couple of friends of mine and everybody was talking about Halo. Halo, this game is a science fiction shooter, oh damn it. A science fiction first-person shooter, and I mean, there was a lot of hype surrounding Halo, so I decided to try it out. And I played through the game, and when I died for the first time, I was like, oh, gotta start over again. And suddenly I just reappeared like 2 feet away from where I died. And I thought, is this a glitch, or are cheat codes activated? But no, there were no cheat codes. That's actually the game. You just die, you respawn 2 feet away from where you died. No penalty. No. See, there's no big like penalty for dying in Halo. All it just does is basically waste your time. It's not like, for example, dying in Contra or especially dying in like Gradius. If you play any Gradius game, you really don't want to die because you lose all your power-ups. And trying to beat Gradius with no power-ups, I mean, there are people who can do it, but I am not one of those people who can sit down and beat Gradius with no power-ups. That's insane. So yeah, I guess programmers or game makers back then, they just held kids to a different standard or a higher standard. It might be that. Or it may be also that the technology was more limited back then and they couldn't make like extremely long games. So they had to make games as challenging as possible so that you wouldn't beat it in one sitting. Like, say, Ghosts and Goblins, aka Makaimura. You can beat that game in 20 minutes if you're really good at it, but if you're like a kid and you're playing that game, you'll probably take several months or maybe even years to beat it because it's a really difficult game. And you definitely will not beat it on the first go. I mean, just wow, look at the graphics in this game, look at how well this game is aged. Oh damn it. Look at the water effects and like the forest, the like little beams of light seeping in through the canopy effects. Those little details, they spent a lot of time making their games look really nice and like refining the gameplay mechanics. probably because they had less to work with, but that's one thing that I kind of question sometimes. Back in the day they had less to work with, but we had more complex games. Nowadays we have a lot of technology and more to work with, but they make simpler games. They make games like God of War and Uncharted. There's ridiculously simplified games. A friend of mine in university when I was in college had Uncharted, and he was playing Uncharted 3 recently, and he's like, "Dude, this game is so difficult, man. It's got this puzzle that I can't solve. It took me like 3 hours to solve this puzzle." And he gave it to me, and I solved the puzzle. I kid you not, I looked at the puzzle and solved it in 1 minute. And it was the very first puzzle with the shields in Uncharted 3 when you have to like, ouch, grab the shields and turn the statues. The game just gave you all the clues. It's nothing like the piano puzzle in Silent Hill, the infamous piano puzzle that everybody... There are lots of people who raged quit Silent Hill because they could never solve that piano puzzle. It's ridiculous. It took me about 30 to 40 minutes to solve that puzzle, and I'm pretty good at solving puzzles. I beat most of the Professor Layton games, so I'm pretty confident in my puzzle solving skills. But that piano puzzle in Silent Hill, man, that was rough. I was looking at the screen like an idiot, like, wait, this is... no, this is not right. Yep, traps are getting harder. There's retracting spikes. There's your buddy. Yeah, I remember playing this game, and I only beat this game once because this is a pretty long game. I don't remember exactly how many levels it has, but it has like 7 worlds, 7 themed worlds, so to say. And oh, I remember this level. This is the level in which the exit is like right above you, but you can't get to it. You have to go through the whole level and basically look for the exit. I remember this level. Like this level, for example. Nowadays, when are you ever gonna get like a level like this in which you can see the answer right in front of you, like the exit, but you have to work for it? I played some like modern day kids games. Like I played Ben 10 on the, what was it? Xbox. I think it's the Xbox 360. And I played some kids games, and it's almost downright ridiculous the way they hold the kids' hands. And the problem is, it's not just kids games, but adult games as well. They're like these games that are intended for older audiences, but they still just hold your hand and tell you exactly what to do, and they even give you the option to bypass some things, and it's really ridiculous. It's one reason I don't really enjoy these big budget, you know, Hollywood-esque games, because I mean I can just bust through them in 1 or 2 sittings, and it's really not much of a challenge. What am I doing? Oh my god. Yeah, well, in conclusion, I'll pick this game up. It's a really good game. You can get it for really cheap, and it will definitely entertain you. and it will present a nice challenge to you if you're looking for a nice, good platformer on the Mega Drive. Look no further than this. Alright gang, that's enough for tonight. Signing out.